Light is Britain's far-right conspiracy theory paper spreading hate and vicious lies. No, that's what the BBC say. The Light is the only national newspaper bringing you the real news and informed opinion on what's really going on today. You can subscribe, order copies, submit articles, and read back issues on our website, thelightpaper.co.uk, and see for yourself why the establishment are so worried about the uncensored truth getting out to people every month. The Light Paper. Not far right, just right so far. thelightpaper.co.uk.
Scene script. Have you ever pondered the idea of financial independence and early retirement? The notion of not having to clock in at 9 or wrestle with the daily grind? Imagine a life where you're not shackled by financial obligations or a demanding job. It's not an impossible dream, but a reality for those who embrace the FIRE movement. That's financial independence, retire early. Consider the tale of Jane, a woman in her early 30s. Jane was an ordinary person living an ordinary life. She had a 9-to-5 job, a mortgage, car payments, and a lifestyle that was comfortable but hardly extravagant. And like most people, she dreamed of a life where she didn't have to worry about money. Jane decided to make a change. She began by cutting back on non-essential expenses, saving as much of her income as possible. She invested wisely, focusing on assets that generated passive income that didn't require her to trade time for money. Slowly but surely, Jane began to build her financial independence. She was still working, but she was no longer living paycheck to paycheck. She had a safety net, a cushion that gave her the freedom to make choices based on what she wanted, not what she needed. Fast forward 10 years, Jane, now in her early 40s, had achieved her goal. She was financially independent. She had enough passive income to cover her living expenses, and she no longer needed to work to survive. She was free to retire early, to spend her time as she pleased. Jane's story may seem extraordinary, but it's not unique. It's the story of anyone who has embraced the principles of the FIRE movement. It's a tale of discipline, of sacrifice, and of a relentless pursuit of financial independence. To summarize, the key points discussed today revolve around the idea of financial independence and early retirement. It requires discipline and sacrifice, cutting back on non-essential expenses and saving as much as possible. It involves investing wisely, focusing on assets that generate passive income. But most importantly, it requires a change in mindset. It's about seeing money not as a means to buy things, but as a tool to buy freedom. It's about understanding the true value of time and the freedom that comes with not having to trade it for money. This is the essence of the FIRE movement. It's not just about retiring early, it's about achieving financial independence, about gaining the freedom to live life on your own terms. Like Jane, you too can embrace the principles of the FIRE movement and embark on a journey towards financial independence and early retirement. After all, the only thing standing between you and your financial freedom is you.
Ever wondered how much you'd need to save to achieve financial independence? The answer lies within the mathematics of a concept known as FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The most essential number in your journey to financial independence is calculated by multiplying your annual spend by 25. Notice the emphasis on annual spend, not annual income. This calculation is based on the principle that you need £300 invested for every pound you wish to spend each month in passive income. Hence, your FIRE number is also your monthly spend times 300. This mathematical principle is founded on the 4% safe withdrawal rate, as defined by financial advisor William Bengen. He proposed this rate after analyzing the S&P 500, which typically produces an average of better than 10% growth per year when studied over a period of approximately 30 years. Bengen considered factors such as inflation and market volatility. After studying previous market activity, he concluded that a 4% rate of withdrawal per year would provide for a 30-year sustainable portfolio in the vast majority of cases. So to paint a clearer picture, if your monthly spend is £1,000, then your target for financial independence is 300 times 1,000, or £300,000. Alternatively, if your annual spend is £12,000, your financial independence target is 25 times 12,000, which also equates to £300,000. The first step in planning your financial independence, therefore, lies in understanding your monthly and yearly expenditure. Without this knowledge, it is impossible to take further strides towards your financial freedom. In summary, the mathematics of FIRE revolves around the principle of multiplying your annual spend by 25 or your monthly spend by 300 based on the 4% safe withdrawal rate. Knowing your monthly and annual spend is crucial in determining the amount you need to save to achieve financial independence. Armed with this knowledge, you can then plan your journey towards financial freedom. Remember, the journey to financial independence is not a sprint, but a marathon. Embrace the mathematics of FIRE and take the first step towards your financial independence today.
Good morning, guys. It's 8 AM on Monday the 30th of June 2025. If I just draw your attention very quickly to the top right of the screen, you'll see the position at close on Friday was £85.35 and up 1%. That will reset very shortly, no doubt. And last day of the month, and we have completed 3 years and 13 weeks of what will be roughly an 8-year FIRE experiment, or a FIRE journey, if you like. The market has just opened, and I see that it's already up just over 0.1%. That of course could go the other way between now and close of play. That's completely expected. Let's start off. We'll have a look at the notifications. I don't think it's been that long since the last broadcast. In fact, it's not long at all. It must have been Thursday or Friday last week, just 3 days ago. But it is simply a matter of when I can fit it in each week. So let's have a look. First notification here, upcoming holidays. The following market holidays will be observed in July. So Canada, that's tomorrow. The 1st of July is Canada Day. The 4th of July, I think that's Friday in the United States, of course, Independence Day. And the US market will close early at 5 o'clock UK time on July the 3rd, so I'm assuming that corresponds to 12 noon in the US. Other than that, Nike jumps 15% as forecast shows milder sales and profit declines than expected. Biggest stocks before earnings: Nike, Concentrix, Apogee and Enerpac Tool, none of which I can say I recognise, but it is what it is. I often would say it doesn't matter whether you know the companies or not, as long as they're part of the S&P 500, then if they are doing well, you'll benefit from that. If they're not doing well, then eventually they will fall off the index and be replaced by something which is doing better. So from that point of view, it's all good. Right, before we get stuck in, let me just draw your attention to Monzo.
I want a bank that makes money easy.
That sounds perfectly reasonable.
And you are?
We're a bank called Monzo.
I want a bank that shows me what I spend instantly.
No problem, just give us a go. See?
Can you make splitting bills easy?
Super easy. Check this out.
But it's a real faff to sign up.
It takes less than 10 minutes.
Race you.
You're on.
Can I talk to a real person 24/7?
Of course.
Even now?
Yep.
Even now?
Anytime.
Can you tell me when I'm running a little low on cash?
We certainly can.
Cool. Can I afford these?
You certainly can't, sorry. Can't afford that either.
That's a real shame.
Not really. Time's up. How'd you get on?
It's a draw.
Can you help me save for my next holiday?
Oh, how about you set up a savings pot in the Monzo app called Barbados, baby?
Thanks for listening, Monzo.
We're all ears.
We can go now.
Rude. You make Monzo Monzo.
Okie dokie, let's swap things around again. There we go. Right, so as mentioned below the video there is a Monzo affiliate link in the description. There's also one for Smarty Mobile. If you choose to use those, both you and I should benefit. I think the terms and conditions make it clear that there's a range of potential prizes that we might be awarded, but I'm not sure that it's clearly defined which one you'll receive, if you see what I mean. But yeah, read the T's and C's, and if you're not already customers of those companies and you like their offer, why not use the link? It's a lost opportunity otherwise. Right, with that said, let's just have a look at the market itself. Now I appreciate, I don't think you can see the mouse, although you might actually see the grid lines moving there. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is the smaller red circle towards the left hand side of the screen, and what that represents is the dip at the time of the pandemic, followed by the V-shaped recovery a couple of months afterwards. Then, as you can see, the market continued to progress up until a period of instability, volatility, whatever you want to call it, more so at the start and less so later, and that the start of that, if I remember rightly, was due to the Ukraine conflict. Then since that time things have shot upwards up until Donald Trump's tariff announcements, which the market didn't like, and we saw that the pullback that you can see there, and I believe that what we are seeing now is another example of a V-shaped recovery. I think it's fair comment to say that. If you disagree, why not comment below and tell me why. So I mean, I suppose if you were to add a sort of as close to what we can call a trend line to that to the graph, it might look something like this. I'm just trying to get it at the right angle first of all, because I can always move it a little bit afterwards. I wonder, oh, always helps if you click the other end of it. So what I want to do, basically what I'm trying to do is end up with as much above as below the line, which is quite tricky, to be quite honest, but let's say if that is the trend, then you could conclude that at the current market value, the market actually looks slightly overpriced. And what we have on screen here are data which go back as far as roughly 2016, 2017, right the way up to the present day. So we've got 10 years worth of data on screen there, near enough. and as I say, it is difficult to know exactly where to place the line. I suppose actually what we might do, what if we were to take sort of a lowest to highest? How does that sound? And then what I'm planning to do, so there'll be something along those lines. That'll be a lowest to highest from start to finish sort of thing. And then if we add on a second one, so the kind of highest to lowest. This is just kind of in recent times, if that makes sense. And then would it be fair to say that the midpoint would be kind of going through where those two cross over? Now this is not scientific by any means, but let's just drop that one at the current sort of position. So actually maybe that last one that I've added in might be the one that best reflects the actual trend. Let's remove the other two. Happy days, the delete key does work for doing that. I wasn't sure if it would. Okay, so whenever you look at that actually gives a slightly different picture. You have quite a bit of the activity in the sort of earlier years beneath that line, and even from the sort of the time of the Ukraine conflict, quite a bit of the activity beneath the line, and then again it traverses it, and the activity more recently well above the line. I'm not a statistician, I can't explain what we're looking at, if that is representative or not, but what occurs to me is that generally, because of the effect of compounding returns, I think it's probably fair to say that if you were to look at the data over, I don't know, let's say 100 years, I would imagine the S&P has been around for about that length of time. I think that you would see that the in terms of price in general, I think what we do see is the beginning of an exponential growth upwards. So in other words, as time goes on, you would expect there to be more of the price activity above the line than below, and that might potentially account for why whenever I do that with the three lines, this third one appears to show most of the activity actually below the line up until more recently. Not sure if that's a fair comment, but that's just my take on it. With that said, guys, let's go ahead and put in this week's weekly investment. If you follow the channel, you'll know that each week I invest £120 of the theoretical money into the portfolio. This is on the Trading 212 practice platform. So that provides you with a fund of £50,000 to use, and whilst it is a practice platform, it is actually using accurate current market data to reflect what the real position would be if you were to actually make these trades yourself. I think the only difference that I have noted is that I don't believe dividends are included in the practice platform. But aside from that, it's pretty representative. So at today's current market value, £120 bought of the the Vanguard S&P 500 exchange traded fund is expected to buy us roughly 1.4 shares. I normally trade when the market is open where possible. So this is going to be a market buy. I have not set any limits or anything like that. There is zero commission, and we're going to send that through. I don't know why sometimes I have to click that twice. Okay, that was placed and executed in the blink of an eye. So we did get 1.4 shares. The purchase price for those was $85.51, and it does appear as if the figures on the right have updated already. So that brings the current portfolio value to 24,500. The current return on investment sitting at just over 20%, and the average purchase price 71.17, near enough. So we are not quite at the midpoint yet, because down at the bottom I can see that we have 29,600 in free funds remaining to invest. So when that figure drops to 25,000, we'll be halfway there, so to speak, in terms of the 8-year journey. But already you can see that the portfolio is producing a significant return on investment. We're up a fifth, and remember, of course, if we were not continuing to invest each week, that figure would actually be higher, because of the fact that when we invest, that brings down our average purchase price, albeit minimally, given the value of the portfolio now, but it still does have a slight effect. And as I say, that return on investment figure would actually be slightly higher if it weren't for that fact. That's probably pretty much it for today. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I haven't covered. We've had a look at the market. We have seen the activity so far this morning. We have also looked at the notifications and discussed the current situation. We've had an attempt at a trend line, and that's pretty much it. We've done this week's investment. So guys, that is going to be it for this week. If you find the content interesting, if you're interested in following the journey, please subscribe to the channel. Obviously, if you have any comments, queries, criticisms or suggestions, please add those beneath. And other than that, thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week with more. Obviously, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Yeah, in the meantime, have a great week, and see you next week.